It's the end of our dry season here in northern Thailand, so it's time to pay some more attention to our bamboo, and that it's the right time to cull some of the culms. So to thin it out a little bit and to provide me with some bamboo to use as building material. Now, in the past, I have used a bow saw for cutting the bamboo. It's got nice big teeth on it, and it is relatively light and easy to use. I've also used a pruning saw, which is okay, but the teeth are somewhat smaller and they tend to get clogged really easy. The good thing about this is that it's really narrow and it can get into the tight spots so that I can cut the bamboo lower down. But they do have their drawbacks. The bow saw does work pretty well. It's got a nice big teeth, but it's got the bow on it, so it's really difficult to get it in amongst the bamboo, especially lower down if I want to cut the culms lower down. So this year I've been using something different. I have got myself a little chainsaw and I've been using this to cut the bamboo, and it has quickly become my favourite tool for cutting bamboo, and I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons. It's much quicker and easier. There's a lot less effort and therefore a lot less sweat at this time of the year. I still sweat a lot using the chainsaw, but it just cuts through the bamboo so easily. Bamboo's fairly soft, but it's very fibrous, so it can clog your chainsaw up. I do have to make sure I keep it clean. However, it is better than especially the pruning saw, which will get clogged up because the teeth are so small. So the chainsaw cuts really easily and quickly. It also allows me to get closer in, further down at the bottom of the culms here, and to get in between, because I want to cut out the culms that are in a densely packed area to give new culms room to grow and to give the existing culms a bit more space as well. So it does allow me to get in lower down in tight spots and just make a good cut and pull it out. There's a couple of things with it that you've got to be careful when you're cutting, and that is that as you cut the bamboo culm, if you've got a clean cut, that is very heavy and it's going to drop. So you want to make sure that it's not trapping your saw blade, it's not dropping onto your chainsaw blade, that you want to make sure that when you cut that last little piece that you get your blade out of the way, because there can be quite a lot of weight in these culms, especially the older, thicker ones. I found that cutting with a chainsaw, it does actually damage the bamboo. It doesn't give you a very nice clean cut every time, but I just give myself a little bit extra and I can cut it cleaner with a different saw later on if I want an end on the bamboo that is nice and tidy. A couple of drawbacks with using a chainsaw: the bamboo is very rich in silica, so it's going to blunt whatever saw you use, including a chainsaw. It's going to blunt the blade more quickly. I just use cheap blades, throw them away and replace them because they're only a couple of bucks each. And this is a huge time saving. And as always, using a chainsaw, you've just got to be really careful of kickback. It can be difficult working in tight situations, and you've just got to be aware of what your saw's doing, how you're holding it, and concentrating, focusing all the time. And of course, wearing the right protective gear when using a chainsaw. And I'm only using the chainsaw to cut fresh culms that are still growing. I'm not using it for dry bamboo. I think using it for dry bamboo would not be such a good idea because it's going to really damage and split the dry bamboo and can cause it to really fracture badly, which would make it pretty useless for doing anything else with. And so I'm also using the chainsaw now to clean up the side branches coming off the main culms. In the past, I've done this by hand, manually, or using a small electric saw, but I found now trying the chainsaw, it's a little bit tricky, but it's very fast. Doesn't give such a clean cut usually. It's a bit more difficult to manage a bigger saw than a smaller one, but for the sake of speed, it's really good to be able to get it done. And I say this because our rainy seasons come early this year, and it's really important to cut the bamboo before it starts to draw up more moisture from the soil. So I'm in a bit of a hurry this year to get it cut, because I've noticed on some of the pieces that I have cut, they're already starting to sprout these beautiful new young leaves. And so I'll get them cut before they start to draw up too much nutrient, too much sugar from the big rhizome that's underneath them, because that's what attracts the bugs. The bugs come for those sugars. And so if we cut it at the beginning of the rainy season, then there's not much sugar, there's not much nutrient up in that culm. And this year I'm trying something new as well. I'm not only treating the bamboo that I'm cutting with borax and boric acid, but because I've got so many culms that I'm cutting, I'm just dropping them into the small canal at the top of our section to soak them and to let the water flow through them. I'll make another video about this technique shortly. And in the meantime, if you'd like to learn more about choosing which bamboo culms are the right ones to cut, please check out this video next. Thanks very much for watching.